Our next set of people who are joining us to pay tribute. Keki Mistry is former Vice Chairman and CEO at HDFC Limited. Nilesh Shah is, of course, with Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. Gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us. It's a somber day. We're remembering a great man, Mr. Ratan Tata. Mr. Mistry, if I can start by asking you, how do you remember Mr. Tata? And, just some personal anecdotes and your interactions with him, what you took away.
I think let me first say that it is impossible for me or anybody else to describe the enormous legacy that Mr. Ratan Tata leaves behind. He was a legend like nobody else. He had incredible vision. He was truly an outstanding and extraordinary human being who lived an extremely, incredibly simple life despite his tremendous achievements. He has so much of conviction in what he did. And under his leadership, everyone has talked about it, Tata Group grew from strength to strength. He had the vision, the courage to make some extraordinary, some very, very successful acquisitions for the Tata Group, whether it was in Tata Motors through JLR, Tata Steel through Chorus, or Tata Consumers through Tetley. For the first time in those days, he took India on the global stage because nobody in those days could imagine an Indian company going and acquiring a global giant from overseas. I remember many years ago, I was driving from Budapest to Prague, must have been 10 years ago or 9 years ago or something. And along the way, I saw at least two places where I saw boards of Tata Group along the way. So he really took India on the global stage. I think what really separated him from any other legend was his humility, his simplicity, the kind of life he lived. He lived a very simple life despite creating so much wealth for the community and the country. He always remained a very simple man, a very approachable man, very, very philanthropic, always wanting to help people. He helped so many startups and he encouraged the youth of the country.
So you know him personally? Any personal anecdotes?
I don't know him that well personally. I met him a few times, but I never worked with Tata on any assignment or any committee or anything of that sort. But I'm on the board of TCS, but by that time, Mr. Tata was not involved directly in TCS.
Was not taking a direct interest.
So speaking of that, so Mr. Mistry, morning, tell us about that. I mean, we've spoken about the hard asset businesses, whether it's Tata Motors, Tetley or Tata Steel. I mean, TCS itself, right? I mean, that was the Tata Group at the cutting edge of, innovation, outsourcing, services. How have you seen the transformation? And were there sort of, were there indications or anything that was imbibed from Mr. Ratan Tata as the company grew in stature and size?
I think TCS grew from strength to strength over the years, and TCS started. I remember TCS being listed. I was not on the board at that time, but TCS being listed many, many years ago. And I remember there was a roadshow in London, and we were on the same flight, coincidentally, and I was to go for a HDFC roadshow, which was a non-deal roadshow, and Mr. Tata and a couple of people from the Tata Group were going for the TCS roadshow. And again, the simplicity of the man, people walked up to him, people sought his autograph and photographs, wanted to be photographed with him. And he was so simple, always obliging people. He created TCS, he created that brand of that India could be a big IT player in the global stage. And I think that legacy just kept being built upon over the years.
Okay. Well, good to hear that, Mr. Mistry. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your thoughts about him. We also have Nilesh Shah of Kotak Mahindra AMC joining us. Nilesh, he's created wealth for so many shareholders. Tell us how you would look at him from a shareholder angle as well.
So from a shareholder point of view, Tata matlab so touch nu sonu. You have to invest in their companies and stay invested for long term. They will take care of everything. That legacy, that culture, that confidence has been built over the generations. And there is one incident which I have always remembered. During the Second World War, Tata Steel was not in a position to pay their workers at Jamshedpur. And Tata family pledged their jewelry, raised money from Indian banks, and put money in Tata Steel to pay workers' salary? How many promoters are there who will pledge their personal wealth so that their public company can prosper and survive? That's the legacy of Tata. The name alone is sufficient for shareholder to invest.
Absolutely, Nilesh. Hi, morning. Let's talk, because we're talking businesses segment by segment, right? And obviously the Tata Group made its inroads into financial services as well, with the insurance business, with asset management, Tata Capital, etc. How would you describe the strides over there? One also wonders, because given that integrity was such high up there, such a high priority, would that in a sense maybe limit aggression, given that the financial services business is very aggressive, very portioned? That was not the style, the personal style that Mr. Tata perhaps would have approached.
So if we look at in the financial business, there are two models. One, you grow rapidly and then falter, or second, you build brick by brick and eventually you build a tall building. I think by definition, Tatas were suited for the second model. They have built their financial business over years, brick by brick. There were some setbacks, undoubtedly, but those setbacks they have taken in their stride and moved on. Today, except banking, where they are not permitted under law, in all other sphere of financial services, Tata presence is visible.
Nilesh bhai, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your sort of memories and what you really took away from Mr. Tata. Thank you very much for joining us. So it's a somber day. We remember a great man, and of course we will continue to do that as we get you a sort of more perspective from people who knew him, who of course interacted with him in various capacities. From what we understand, the mortal remains of Mr. Tata will, of course, are at his residence right now. They'll be moved to NCPA in South Bombay, where the body will be kept for people to be able to come and pay their last respects. So that's essentially what we're looking at through the course of the day. We'll take a quick commercial break here. The first on the program, we're going to come back and get you some sort of market-related news as well. There is a market which is trading, so that's coming up.